You're listening to Commander's Demand with your host, Sports PSP, exclusively on the Grid Network.
Yo, what's up, folks? It's your boy Sports PSP. Welcome to another episode of Commander's Demand, a podcast in which I discuss things surrounding the Washington Commanders. Hope everyone's enjoying a fantastic day. I'm reading an interesting article from Bleacher Report's Timothy Rapp. It's titled Monday Morning Quarterback. NFL Insiders Feel Commanders may trade picks to target Caleb Williams in 2024. Says here, according to the article from Timothy Rapp of Bleacher Report, the Washington Commanders have a major need at quarterback, but currently aren't scheduled to make a selection until the number 16 pick in the first round. So if they want to get in the mix for one of the top options in this year's draft, they'll probably have to trade up the board. But the more likely outcome might be the Commanders moving back to accumulate more draft assets for 2024, namely with USC's Caleb Williams in mind. As the Monday Morning Quarterback's Albert Breer reported on Monday, quote, I and most teams would be very surprised if the Commanders took a quarterback to the point where some have speculated the team could move capital into 2024 to ready for a run, then at DC area native Williams. You probably have to be the worst team in the league to get him because whoever that team is probably won't trade his rights away. In other words, Washington fans might have to brace themselves for a season of Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett, and Jake Fromm at quarterback. But hey, if that approach ultimately ends with Washington securing the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, sacrificing a season might be worth it. Williams, who's 21 years old, threw for 4,537 yards, 42 touchdowns, and just 5 interceptions in 2022, completing 66.6% of his passes. The issue is that the Commanders likely won't be alone in desiring Williams. The quarterback position has been a major need for the Commanders since Robert Griffin III briefly looked like a star early in his career. It's fair to argue the position hasn't been adequately and consistently settled for the organization since the Mark Rypien days, or even as far as back to Joe Theismann. So if the Commanders have to wait another year to do so, well, it won't be anything new. That's the rest of the article from Bleacher Reports from Timothy Rapp. Now, as I said, folks, before, if you check my earlier episodes here on Commander's Demand, I've said it. What could have been for RG3 had it not been for injuries? Robert Griffin III could have been the next Lamar Jackson. He was on his way to becoming the next Lamar Jackson because he was electric coming out of Baylor. Strong arm, to make beautiful deep balls, number 2 pick in the draft. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year. He made the Pro Bowl. He had 20 touchdown passes to only 5 interceptions in his rookie season. He was electric in his rookie year. But then injuries came along the way. And, of course, his ego. Hate to say it, but that was the truth. RG3 didn't prioritize being the quarterback for Washington. RG3 wanted to change his style of offense. From what I heard, according to Skip Bayless, this is what he said on his days on ESPN and on Fox Sports with Undisputed, Skip and Shannon's Undisputed. He said that Robert and his father spoke with management, and they said they don't want to run the read option offense anymore, the spread offense that made Robert successful, and that they wanted to be Peyton Manning, like a pocket passer. And that didn't work, unfortunately, because how do you go from being a read option quarterback to a prototypical drop back pure pocket passer like a Peyton Manning? And I've said it before, folks. Time and time, Washington needs a splash. I've said that. Ryan, who, by the way, does a great job, and check out his podcast on the GRYD Network, Clutch Sports Talk, does a great job analyzing and breaking down film on players. He's told me, Washington, it's time that they have to take a different approach. Stop being so conservative and make a splash. And look, in 2023, we're not going to get Lamar Jackson. Martin Mayhew, the GM, Ron Rivera, Washington has made it clear. Washington is in no pursuit of Lamar Jackson. So, as a Commanders fan, we're stuck with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. And I hate saying stuck because I actually like Sam Howell. I thought he was nice. He was solid coming out of North Carolina. He reminded me in some ways like Baker Mayfield in terms of his physical frame, his ability to throw the football. He's like Baker Mayfield, but without the antics. And Jacoby Brissett is a quality backup in the NFL. And if Washington, like I said on my last episode, with the new owner, Josh Harris, who is the owner of the Philadelphia 76ers, I'll say it and I'll say it again. We have to take a page of the Philadelphia 76ers by trusting the process. And if tanking is what it takes, if tanking or trading up draft picks is what it takes in order for us to get Caleb Williams, then so be it. And if we can't get Caleb Williams, there's some other good quarterbacks in the 2024 NFL draft too. There's Drake May of North Carolina. Don't discount him. He's really good, folks. There's some other quarterbacks. The Washington quarterback, Michael Penix out of Washington. There's Quinn Ewers from Texas. But if we could get Caleb Williams from USC, who, by the way, is a DC native. He's from DC. Can you imagine someone like him to be the ambassador of the Washington Commanders, and how much it would shock, how much it would excite that fan base to have another Heisman Trophy winner as our savior, as our franchise quarterback? That would be huge for Washington. It would be huge if we could get a guy like Caleb Williams as our signal caller, and you put him with EB. And a lot of people, some scouts, some people say that Caleb Williams is some ways kind of like Patrick Mahomes. I wouldn't go that far, because Patrick Mahomes, I feel like, is in a class by himself. But Caleb Williams, he can make some big-time throws. Like, he has enough arm, the improvisation. And even though Patrick Mahomes is mobile and athletic, Caleb Williams is on another breed. He runs like a 4.5-ish. Mahomes is like more 4.8, but Caleb Williams is more dynamic. I knew that not just in USC, but also in Oklahoma. Go back to the Texas game when he took over for Spencer Rattler. And Spencer Rattler, in 2021, before that season, was the early favorite to win the Heisman Trophy, to be the #1 overall pick. He struggled in the Texas game and before the Texas game in that season. When Caleb Williams stepped in and when he made play after play, that long touchdown run, the throws he made to Marvin Mims, I said, this dude is legit. And he was a 5-star recruit in DC. And just watching him play in Oklahoma and then ultimately in USC, I think this dude he's got all the talent in the world. He's got star written all over him. So can you imagine if he can go to DC, he can be the signal caller for the Commanders? with Eric Bieniemy there, and with Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel, and with whoever the Washington Commanders can get on offense, can you imagine that? That'd be huge. That'd be electric. That'd be exciting. That is what that fan base needs. So if we have to tank the rest of the season or trade up to get Caleb Williams, then by all means do it. Because we can't go with a safe conservative approach anymore, folks. If we go with Sam Howell or Jacoby Brissett, then at best case for the Commanders, we're 6-11 or 7-10. And we're going to end up having the 14th or 15th overall pick. And we're probably not going to get a quarterback. Unless if you want to go draft Will Levis out of Kentucky. But I believe you could do a lot better than Will Levis if you're Washington. So that's what I think Washington should do. So when I hear about Caleb Williams possibly going to the Commanders, or if any chance he could go to the Commanders, then of course, as a Washington fan, you know, by all means, I'm going to do whatever it takes in order to get my hands on him. Because in order for us to go far, if you're a Commanders, it's a quarterback's league. It's a quarterback's league. Okay? We're only going to go as far as a quarterback. Period. End of story. Sam Howell, Jacoby Brissett, no one looks at them as the long-term solution. They don't. They don't. And even though Martin Mayhew, the GM, says that, you know what, they feel very comfortable with who they have at quarterback with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett, I'm not buying it. That I feel like that's just easier said than done. You just don't want to go take a splash. You just don't want to go do as much in order for you to get the right type of ingredient in order to help Washington. You just want to take a safe, conservative approach. And I think with the new ownership, eventually Martin Mayhew and Ron Rivera, they're going to be gone. That's what I think. That's what I see. I think Washington, hey, by all means, you got to do what you got to do to get your hands on Caleb Williams, because we can't have another season of going 6-11, 7-10, and then we miss out on an opportunity on him. I'm sorry. I can't have that. I cannot have that. To me, that is fucking unacceptable. That's ridiculous, in my humble opinion. And look, it's just really, it would be really hard for us to have another year and not have a top tier quarterback. And I just feel like we've seen enough. We got to take a different approach and we got to make a splash. That is what it is. We got to do whatever it takes to get our hands on Caleb Williams. Period. End of story. I don't want to hear, well, don't worry, Parnell, you know, we feel comfortable with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. I ain't buying that. And no Washington Commanders fan, no Washington fan should buy that either. One of the players that I want to look at that I feel like that's going to have a good season for the Commanders, assuming if he stays healthy, is Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel, I read a report that he switched his jerseys. He switched his jersey number. So he's no longer gonna wear the previous jersey number that he wore. I think this could be a big thing for Curtis Samuel. And I like Curtis Samuel a lot. If Curtis Samuel, he could be a great deep threat. I think he's a good deep threat, but he could be a great deep threat for the Commanders. and in the NFL. He could be recognized as one of the best deep threats in the NFL if he could stay healthy. Let me just read you the article here from 247 Sports by Patrick Murphy, Curtis Samuel, and Garrett Wilson of the New York Jets. They're going back to their roots. It was announced by the Washington Commanders on last Friday, that Samuel will change his jersey number ahead of the 2023 season from number 10, the number he's worn throughout his NFL career, to number 4, the number that he wore during his first 3 years with the Buckeyes. This could be big, even though it's just a jersey number, but new mindset, new number. Heck, who knows? New attitude for Curtis Samuel. And Curtis Samuel, like I said, folks, I like him a lot. He could take the top off the defense. The only problem that I have with Curtis Samuel has been durability. And I think Sam Howell and Curtis Samuel, they may do some things. And I want to see Curtis Samuel step it up this season. Even though we talk a lot about Terry McLaurin, and even though we talk a lot about Jahan Dotson, we need to pay more attention to Curtis Samuel. I mean, the best season he's ever had in his career was in 2020 with the Panthers. He had 77 receptions for 851 yards, 3 touchdown passes. Last year with the Commanders, he had 64 receptions for 656 yards and 4 touchdowns. So I think Curtis Samuel, if he could stay healthy, and I think if he and Sam Howell can develop a rapport, that could help us out offensively. And it could take some pressure off of Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry as we call him, as well as Jahan Dotson. So with the new jersey number, he goes back. He went from number 10 to now number 4, the number that he wore during his time in Ohio State, the Ohio State. I think this will be big. And I think this will be a big year for him, assuming if he could stay healthy as well as develop a rapport, because Curtis Samuel is an excellent deep threat. He can be considered the best deep threat, or one of the best deep threats in football, if he could stay healthy. That's just my opinion, folks. Y'all may think I'm reaching or blowing smoke out my ass, but that's how I really feel. I don't give a damn. This is how I feel about Curtis Samuel. Ron Rivera, he has a lot this season. I do believe, and I've said it before, new ownership, I think they will move on from Ron Rivera. I hope Ron Rivera, and I like Ron Rivera a lot. I think he's a really good guy. Obviously, the battles that he went through in 2020 with leukemia, his own health battles. I think he is a leader of men. His defensive background and pedigree is excellent. But there's going to be a lot on him, and I feel like if he doesn't get the job done, then, of course, his job is going to be on the line. And if that's the case, is Eric Bieniemy going to get a head coaching opportunity? Even though I'm happy that Eric Bieniemy is our offensive coordinator, I still feel that he's better off as a head coach. I think he would be excellent as a head coach. I think he should be a head coach, given the fact that he came from the Andy Reid coaching tree. We understand why he's not a head coach, because of the situation. So I think with Ron Rivera, I hope he does well. I hope he turns it out. And that's all I'm going to say. Boy, we got some breaking news. Huge news I got to report right here. I'm reading an article from NFL.com. The Washington Commanders are not going to exercise defensive end Chase Young's 5th-year option, NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero reported Wednesday. Young, the number 2 overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, went on to win the AP Defensive Rookie of the Year award, but tore his ACL 9 games into the 2021 season and played in just 3 games last year. Young has 9 career sacks, 6 forced fumbles, and 75 tackles, and he will now be a free agent following this season. Around the NFL, we'll have more shortly. Wow. Big news. I mean, folks, I said it before. You should. I'll say it again. The Washington Commanders should have picked up Chase Young's 5th-year option, because if Chase Young, if and only if he stays healthy and resembles into the player he once was, if not becomes even better, then it's going to hurt you if you're Washington, because he's going to ask for a big contract. And I wouldn't blame him, because the players, you only get paid according to what the market gives you. And look, the Giants, they made a mistake with Daniel Jones. They decided not to pick up his 5th-year option. And what did Daniel Jones do? In his first year with Brian Daboll as the head coach, Daniel Jones improved. Daniel Jones was able to get to the playoffs. Daniel Jones was able to win a playoff game. And then in the offseason, Daniel Jones got his money. Daniel Jones got his money. He got his contract. Even though Daniel Jones is not considered the best quarterback in the NFL, however, he did what he was supposed to do. He signed a 4-year, $160 million contract with the New York Giants, including a $36 million signing bonus, including $92 million guaranteed, and an average salary of $40 million. Daniel Jones was able to get that. And I've been on the record on my YouTube channel saying, hey, his agent got to be agent of the year, because he found a way to get Daniel Jones that type of money. So that was great on Daniel Jones and the agent's part. And if I'm Washington, I don't want to lose Chase Young, even though he has a history of durability problems. But I don't want to lose that young tandem, that young defensive end tandem of Chase Young and Montez Sweat. I mean, we need Chase Young. I mean, him, Sweat, Payne. I mean, that our interior linemen. Why would we want to lose that? We don't want to lose that if we're Washington. Nah. And of course, we have to factor Jonathan Allen. Why would I lose that tandem? I understand that Chase Young has durability problems, but at the same time, I drafted him with the number 2 overall pick. I don't want to lose this guy. And if he has a great or outstanding season, he's going to ask for money. Don't be surprised after this season, if he could manage to stay healthy and if he has a bounce back season, he's going to ask for money. Huge amount of money. And I just think this is a bad, terrible mistake. This is a big mistake on the part of Washington. I don't know what they're doing. Chase Young has a lot of potential. I get the durability problems. He only played 3 games last year. He came off a torn ACL in 2021. He hasn't done enough other than his rookie season. He's only compiled 9 sacks in his career. But the potential, I don't want to lose this dude. I don't want to lose the Predator. Nah, I ain't losing this dude. They should have picked up his 5th-year option. I don't know what Washington is doing. I really don't understand why not pick up his 5th-year option. Because if you pick up his 5th-year option, you wouldn't have to worry about giving him a big contract. Now, because you don't pick up his 5th-year option, he may cost you. He may cost you in 2024. Because if Chase Young has a bounce back season or becomes even better than what he was, he's going to ask for more money. And I'm reading an article here from Josh Alper of Pro Football Talk. Commanders head coach Ron Rivera announced the decision on Chase Young not to pick up the fifth-year option. Nikki Jaba, I hope I'm pronouncing the last name right. Nikki Jabavala of the Washington Post reports that the team will not exercise that option. The option would be fully guaranteed when exercised and would have set Young to make $17.4 million next season. Now, passing up on the option doesn't mean that the Commanders and Young, they will part ways after the 2023 season. I'm reading the rest here from the article from Pro Football Talk, but it opens the door to his departure if he doesn't do enough to convince the team that he can repeat the kind of impact he had in his rookie season. I think this is a mistake on Washington's part because by not picking up that fifth-year option, you're going to use, trust me, he's going to use that as fuel and as motivation. And if Chase Young resembles into the player he was coming out of Ohio State and what he was in his rookie season, and if he becomes even better, it's going to cost Washington, and you're going to have to pay him a huge contract. You don't want to make the same mistake the Giants made with Daniel Jones if you're Washington. I'm not comparing Chase Young to Daniel Jones because obviously Chase Young is an extraordinary talent when healthy than Daniel Jones. All I'm saying is you don't want to make the mistake by not picking up the fifth-year option. Him coming back, having a bounce-back season, and then he's going to ask for a huge, lucrative contract. That's the concern that I have. Thank you, folks. It's your boy Sports PSP. Hope everyone is enjoying a fantastic day. And of course, folks, God bless.